As businesses reopen, there's a patchwork of policies triggering new concerns. Workers at 5 Dallas restaurants owned by Hillstone, a popular national chain, tell NBC News they were told not to wear masks on the job.
We have to stop the spread and everything, so it's probably not a good idea.
I probably would not dine in at a restaurant if the servers weren't wearing a mask.
Outrage spilling over on social media. One customer saying not letting your employees wear masks during a global pandemic is insane. Hillstone did not respond to NBC News' request for comment, but did reply to the Post, saying our staff members who felt comfortable working without a mask are covering the limited number of shifts we have available. Those that didn't feel comfortable were encouraged to stay home. Nobody was fired or forced to do anything. On Hillstone's website, the company tells Texas customers, if you are concerned about your safety in this respect, we hope you'll join us at a later date. But in an executive order on reopening, Texas Governor Greg Abbott says businesses and customers should use good faith efforts to follow health protocols and encouraged everyone to wear appropriate face coverings.
The key is following your state or local guidelines. There are a lot of challenges they have to follow, but really just follow the local guidance.
And several big retailers sharing their new plans to keep employees and customers safe. The Gap reopening 800 stores by the end of May, with shorter hours and face coverings provided for employees. And when it's time, registers guarded with plexiglass. Expect similar changes at Kohl's and Nordstrom, and big changes coming to theme parks. Shanghai Disney Resort is opening Monday, the company considering allowing fewer people into its parks at once, more health screenings, and virtual lines to maintain social distance at Disneyland and Disney World. A blueprint for what comes next. Jolene Kent, NBC News.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.